Hi, and welcome to Elizabeth Reads. Today we have Jemima Small versus the Universe by Tamsin Winter, and we are on chapter 37, Horizon. Lottie put her hand on the buzzer and inflated her cheeks. I took a deep breath, looking directly into her beady eyes. The rodent has a lot of predators, but none so deadly as the human. Kajutko is the highest mountain in which country? I slammed my hand down. Australia, I said, and Lottie flashed a sarcastic smile as the educator said, correct. Who was the third man to walk on the moon? I hesitated. I wasn't 100% sure, but as soon as I saw Lottie's hand flinch, I pressed mine down. It was worth risking, I guess. Charles Conrad Jr.? The educator smiled. Correct. The questions flew so fast it felt like I was dodging bullets. Lottie did well on sports and geography, and she answered one about a composer I'd never heard of. So when the educator said we only had one more question, I didn't know if I'd done enough. Good luck, girls, she said. Calculate the following. I could feel my hand shaking on the buzzer, but I closed my eyes and watched the numbers she read out form a sum in my mind. I don't know how long it took me to work it out. It felt like an eternity. All I know is it wasn't as long as Lottie. 879. Correct, Jemima. The final scores are Lottie 6, Jemima 9. The klaxon sounded 3 times. Damien shouted, "That's it, brainiacs, game over, well done." Everyone around me was cheering, but I didn't join in. I didn't feel excited or relieved or happy or victorious. If I could pick an adjective to describe how I felt right then, immediately after beating Lottie at the Brainiac selection day, I'd pick alephorous. It means having wings. I felt as though I'd soared above the Chaplin Suites, high above the city, right up to the very edge of our atmosphere and touched the boundary between Earth and space. Lottie's chair screeched against the wooden floor as she stood up. She muttered, "Well done," and then left the booth without looking behind her. It had never felt so good to see the back of her head. Thank you, competitors. You've been fantastic. This year's show is going to be the best and the toughest ever. I wish we could take all of you through, but we only have 15 places. You'll find out very soon if you've done enough. Don't forget to collect your Brainiac's goodie bag on your way out. Thank you. Damien clapped his hands above his head and a huge cheer went through the room like a riptide. I stood up and joined in that time. The Brainiacs people had put out a buffet for everyone, but Dad said we could eat somewhere else if I wanted. So I chose a Japanese restaurant near Paddington Station where you pick your food from a conveyor belt going all the way around the room. We ate miso soup and cucumber rolls and aubergine nigari, and I didn't notice anyone looking at me twice, not even once. Maybe because we were in a big city, or maybe because I'd mixed too much wasabi into my soy sauce and I felt like my nose was about to explode. Later, as our train approached Clifton Station, Dad put his arm around me. "I'm so proud of you, Jem." "We don't know if I've got through yet," I said. "I'm proud of you regardless of that." He smiled at the other passengers waiting to get off. "My daughter's just auditioned for Brainiacs," he said, to literally the entire train. I considered hitting the emergency stop button, but it said there was a 100-pound fine for improper use, and I'd only just cleared my pocket money debt from the conical beakers that I broke. "Good luck," a woman called as we got off the train. "I'll keep my fingers crossed for you, love." And she smiled like she actually meant it. I took out my phone and read the messages from Miki. "Yes! LOL. Dad wrapped his coat around my shoulders as I read the one from Jasper. "Proud of you, sister." I'd read a lot of spelling and vocabulary books over the past few weeks, but I didn't know a word to describe that feeling you get when you know people are proud of you. It was like being filled with sunlight, the kind of sunlight that refracts across the horizon, and it made that hole inside my heart feel not quite so infinite. The next morning, Dad said Brainiac selection day fatigue wasn't an illness, so I had to go to school. As I packed the Brainiac's mini dictionary, pencils, banana-scented tissues, and lightning bolt geometry set I'd got in my goodie bag into my rucksack, I thought at least Lottie would finally leave me alone. Now I'd beaten her at Brainiac, she couldn't say anything to me. But my theory was proved wrong. Like the Earth is flat theory wrong. It made her worse. It was pouring with rain, so of course in PE we were playing hockey. I had no choice but to run my fastest because our teacher, Miss Newton, is demented. She shouted, "Run, Jemima, run, girl, run!" so loudly I could barely remember whose team I was on. If she didn't think someone was moving fast enough, she'd come right onto the pitch shouting, "Go, go, go!" It was definitely illegal. After the game, I used the last few kilojoules of energy left in my legs to run back to the changing room so I could get a cubicle. Sweating much, Jemima? Lottie said, then snort laughed as I went past. It's all that extra weight, said Pippa Williams, the team captain. They were each carrying an armful of hockey sticks, and their mud-spatter legs still looked slim, even with shin pads in their socks. Well, she is officially obese, Lottie replied. You're officially annoying, I called behind me and quickly opened the door. I was about to walk into the changing room when I heard Alina say, Leave her alone, it's not funny. And by the way, Lottie, you're sweating too. I stopped and looked back down the corridor. Lottie stared at Alina for a moment and then said, Fine, get your best friend Big to help you with these. She dropped the hockey stick she was carrying at Alina's feet. Pippa looked at Lottie, then she did the same, and they both ran towards the changing rooms, their high-pitched laughter echoing down the corridor. Pippa told me to get out of the way as they barged past. Alina watched them, then looked down at the pile of hockey sticks in front of her. I let the changing room door swing shut behind me. Thanks, Alina said, as I helped put the sticks away in the sports cupboard. I'm sorry for what Lottie's been saying. She doesn't mean it. I shrugged. I didn't believe that was true, but it was the first time I'd spoken to Alina in ages, so I didn't say anything. She thinks it's funny. Then she must be missing part of her right frontal lobe, I said. Alina smiled. Where the sense of humor is in your brain, right? Oh, I remember. She put the last hockey stick in the rack and closed the cupboard door. Listen, Lottie said she's going to get back at you for beating her yesterday. She said you've knocked her out of the competition. I told her it's stupid, but she doesn't listen to what I think. She said something about the camping trip next week, so a wave of nausea ran through my stomach. I just wanted to warn you. I better go and get changed, she said, and jogged down the corridor. Thanks, I said, but it was too late for her to hear me. The end of chapter 37. Make sure to subscribe and you'll know exactly when the next chapter comes out. Bye.